Welcome back, folks. Okay, so what do we got here? Gasoline inventories rose 2.8 million. Distilled rose 3.8. Crude
I see it right
fell.
at the top. You got it. A decline of almost 5 billion barrels, man.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
They had the median analyst estimate up there as a rise of 2.15. The whisper number had come down a lot, so maybe call it flat, right? But man, oh man, that number coming in, a decline of 5 million barrels. And jumping back to the crude contract, we pretty muted response actually on that number, man.
Okay.
Crude had traded all the way to 33.72 on the 10 a.m. bar, and we're backing off a bit actually on that number at 33.24 right now in the price of crude. Remarkable.
That really is, man. Holy.
Yeah, I'm like double checking my math. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the bars. I'm saying, wait a second, why didn't it just make a high? Is that high putting it on a 5-minute bar? Yeah, the high made it about 10.10, and you actually trade a bit lower on that number. Maybe the risk side of that trade was that everybody was going to turn off the spigots, and you might see a decline of like 10 million barrels. I don't know. How else does crude trade lower when you get a 5 million barrel draw when the market was looking for positive to nothing action?
It is. You know, what's amazing too, folks, is that when you look back, you know, I'm going back, you know, first 20 years and then basically 50 years. We were supposed to run out of oil twice in my lifetime already, like in a big way. The first was the Arab embargo. That was 67 or 70. That was a monster. That's when there's lines everywhere. And then at the beginning of like 2000, it was peak oil. It was like going to be the end of the world, man. It's so weird, man, that there's so much of it. Not even just, you know, I mean, if we looked at the population of 2000 in the world and then 2020 today, I'm sure the population is higher, yet the prices are lower. So pretty wild.
And yeah, the exponential growth of everything, but technology, right? Technology being used to find different kinds of oil in different places in the globe, whether it's in the sands, whether it's deep in the ocean when we really need it, when prices are high. It's a crazy market, man. And when you can't even get a pop in the price, when you get a draw of 5 million barrels, it's tough to make sense of it, man. Beware. It's been quite a trend up. And it seems so strong right now. And just we're still trading at $33 for a 42-gallon barrel of crude oil that then you get to refine into lots of sellable products. Whether it's, you know, you get gasoline out of there, you get jet fuel, you get, it's just a remarkable price still at $33 for what you get in a 42-gallon barrel of crude oil.
No doubt. So Spotify, right?
Yeah.
You see this deal, you know, so Spotify folks yesterday made a deal with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and I got the article up as you.
Yeah, and this is like, if you want to see a market cap, now, it had in the article that it didn't get quite clear like what Rogan was getting, meaning it looks like over 100 million, right? But it didn't
That's
say.
What they speculate, yeah.
It didn't say how long. But as of yesterday, folks, never mind today, as of yesterday, that put 2.4 billion into Spotify's market cap, man. This was like the Howard Stern deal on Sirius Satellite years ago. I mean, I remember the day that happened.
I agree, totally. Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty intense, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of these companies, right? It makes me think almost, because I was thinking about it yesterday. Walmart came out with their numbers yesterday. One of the things they talk about is that Jet.com, they're going to kind of be winding that down, even though they've incorporated all the technology, and that's what's driven their online growth. The day that they purchased Jet.com, I think, for $3-point-something billion, their market cap went up far exceeding that amount. Which is always interesting when those types of plays make sense.
It is, because you get it for nothing, like.
When Amazon purchased Whole Foods for, I forget what it was, same exact thing. Amazon skyrocketed. They're in the business. They have a premium brand, and the market cap far exceeded what happened there.
Right.
Spotify, this, you know, podcasting, we have all of our TFNN shows on podcast. They're all available, folks, whatever you use, whether it's the iPod, Apple podcast app, whether you use something on Android, they're all available. Podcasting becoming a huge business. Spotify really getting into solidifying some of the biggest names out here. And you don't get to look at the financials of the podcasting business very often to see how much money is actually in them.
Yeah.
And it's always cool when you see somebody like Joe Rogan, man, potentially $100 million. I mean, how about the podcast he had Elon on there when he was smoking the blunt?
Oh, yeah,
right.
Right. And I didn't see that when I saw the one clip, but I saw the last one.
I saw the clip myself.
I just saw the last one that he did with Elon. That was like a 2-hour one. It was. I like how Rogan asks questions. Actually, he's got a cool style.
He's been like in the top 1 or 2 podcasts on the Apple rankings. I think he was number 2 as of this going on. He's consistently right up there with literally the number 1 most downloaded podcast out there. So,
and when you look at it, so watch. I get the numbers up here. Spotify. I mean, they're not making money, man, which is even more wild, okay? Yeah. They're losing 84 cents a share. Next year now they expect to make 3 cents, you know? So, but look at the growth numbers. The growth numbers, folks, let's say 30% across the board. 29% in the UK, no, 28 in the UK, 29 United States, other countries 34. For some reason, Luxembourg is in there with 58. That's where they must, I think that's where their headquarters is. Yeah, it is. So
I'm going to stay on this for a moment, all right? We got 2 or 3 minutes left in this segment because what I just listened to in terms of podcasting, the business of podcasting, a cool story out here. I don't think I'm not logged in right now to the Times, but it has to do with Barstool Sports and one of their podcasts called Call Her Daddy. Have you heard of this at all as it's playing out?
Bessie was telling me this yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty cool. So if you're familiar with Barstool Sports, huge brand out there, this one of their podcasts, a huge podcast, ranking in somewhere in the top echelons, right? So when they came into Barstool Sports, you have these 2 young women talking about their dating life. You have Alex and Sophia in New York, of all things, right? So that reverberating into women and men, the Barstool brand promoting it. And when they signed with them, you know, you're talking about intellectual property, right? Who owns the brand? Who owns this? Who owns that? And so the thing blows up. Long story short, what ends up happening is that they want more money a year into their deal, a year and a half into their deal. One of them starts dating a an HBO executive. Okay. The HBO executive pits them against it. They want out of their contract. The numbers, though, are staggering. The 2 of them each made at least about $500,000 on their own. They were going to renegotiate, and the final offer ended up being $500,000 each, plus 50% of the merchandise. Merchandise is one of the huge areas. You have advertising, but when you become a huge podcast, you know, you could just drive a brand. Okay. And they were going to be able to get 50% of that. Nonetheless, you now have HBO getting dragged into it because one of their executives is in this and HBO has no play in this at all, so they can't be happy at that. Barstool out there did a big podcast, but just the amount of money that is available that you don't even see to know these podcasters. Now, this is, again, a huge brand, but they were going to be making millions themselves for sure with the deal, but they're feuding themselves now over how much to get, and they were only a year and a half into their contract on those types of deals, man. So just interesting to see this feud play out, especially with Barstool, which always makes headlines good or not good, as they do. No doubt.
And, you know, I didn't read the whole story, but that would have to do with the production, you know, because my understanding is that the guy that really started it, he grabbed these. He's seen these girls, knew they were good, produced the deal, right? So that's what the fight is about, of course. So who really owns it, you know? Who basically...
They've been doing it for a year and a half on Barstool, which promoted them tremendously. They signed contracts. Right. You know, that's a tough one. We'll see what happens.
Stay right there. Tommy and I come right back, folks. We have the Dow. Dow's up 390, NADEX up 173, S&Ps are up 51. We'll come right back.